If a cop asks, any weapons? The wrong answer can turn a simple traffic stop into a very bad day. And the scary part is, most good people mess this up because they talk too much, move too fast, or say the wrong thing trying to sound helpful. Quick question before we continue, are you subscribed? Because videos like this can help you avoid mistakes that cost people their rights, their money, and sometimes their freedom. Hit that button now. Now let's get straight to it. If an officer asks, any weapons? There is no one magic sentence that fits every state, every stop, and every situation. And that is exactly why this topic matters so much. Most people think there's a perfect one-line answer. The truth is, your safest words depend on three things. First, do you actually have a weapon on you or in the car? Second, does your state require you to inform the officer? And third, are you about to volunteer more information than the law requires? Here's what just happened in your mind the second that question gets asked. Your heart jumps, your mouth gets dry. You want to show you're a good person. So you start explaining, well, yeah, but it's legal, and I have a permit, and it's in the console, and I was just coming from the range, and stop right there. That's where people get in trouble. The first goal in that moment is safety. Your hands matter more than your speech. Keep them visible. If you're driving, put them on the wheel. If it's dark, turn on the interior light if you can do it calmly. Do not reach for your wallet. Do not reach for the glove box. And absolutely do not reach toward the gun, even if your brain is screaming, I should tell him where it is. Let the officer give instructions first. The second goal is compliance with lawful orders. Notice I said lawful orders, not every question. A police officer can often order you to keep your hands visible, step out of the car, or stay where you are during a stop. But questions are different from commands. Any weapons? Sounds casual, but it can carry serious consequences. Your answer can affect what happens next. The third goal is to avoid giving free evidence. This is the part nobody talks about enough. A lot of people lose control of the stop because they start filling silence with details. And once words leave your mouth, you cannot pull them back. So what should you do? First, understand the basic rule. If your state requires you to tell an officer that you are carrying, then tell them clearly, calmly, and briefly. If your state does not require that, you still need to be smart, because officer safety concerns can change the whole tone of the encounter. This is not the time for clever lines, attitude, or internet bravado. Imagine you're at a traffic stop. Your registration is in the glove box. Your handgun is also near that glove box. The officer walks up and asks, any weapons? This is not the moment to say, yeah, let me show you. That is how people create panic in seconds. Instead, your voice should be calm and boring. You want zero surprises. Here's the first big takeaway. The best answer is not the one that sounds tough. It's the one that keeps everyone calm, protects your rights, and does not add extra facts you didn't need to give. That means short words, clear words, no speeches. And here's what most people get wrong. They think silence means acting suspicious. That is not true. Calm silence and clear boundaries are not the same as being hostile. You can be respectful without giving a roadside interview. That balance is everything. If you're finding this helpful, imagine what you'll learn in my next video about the 5 words that can protect you when police start fishing for more information. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Now let me break down the exact words I want you to remember, because this is where it gets interesting. Scenario 1, you are carrying and your state requires disclosure. In that case, keep it short and safe. Say this, Officer, I want to let you know I am lawfully carrying. My hands will stay right here. How would you like me to proceed? That sentence does 3 powerful things. First, it informs. Second, it reassures. Third, it stops you from making dangerous movements. Notice what it does not do. It does not explain your whole life story. It does not mention where you bought the gun. It does not start reaching around the car. It tells the officer what they need to know, and it asks for instructions. Here's a hypothetical example to explain this. Let's say your handgun is on your right hip, your wallet is in your back pocket, and the officer asks for your license. If you blurt out, "I have a gun," and then twist your body to grab your wallet, that can look terrible in real time. But if you say, "Officer, I want to let you know I am lawfully carrying. My hands will stay right here. How would you like me to proceed?" You lower the temperature instantly. Scenario 2, you are carrying, but your state does not require immediate disclosure. This is where a lot of viewers want a simple answer. And here's the honest answer. If the officer directly asks, "Any weapons?" and you choose to speak, your safest approach is still to be calm, brief, and non threatening. A strong response is, "Officer, I am not reaching for anything. I do have a lawfully carried firearm. How would you like me to proceed?" Why do I like that wording? Because it puts safety first. It avoids sudden movement. It avoids extra chatter. And it does not turn the stop into an argument on the shoulder of the road. Now, some people will say, why not just refuse to answer? In some situations, people do choose to remain silent. But here's the part nobody's talking about. When there is actually a weapon present, the roadside is not always the smartest place to test how the officer will react to silence. Legal rights and practical safety are not always the same thing in the moment. You may win the legal argument months later and still lose the physical encounter in the next 10 seconds. That's why calm, careful wording matters. Scenario 3, there is no weapon and the officer is fishing. In that case, keep it short. You can simply say, "No, officer," and then stop talking. Not "No, but my cousin has one." Not "No, except for a knife in my backpack from work." Not "No, unless you count." Do you see the problem? People talk themselves into trouble by trying to be funny or overly honest about things that were never the question. Now, quick legal note. This is educational information, not legal advice. Always consult an attorney for your specific situation. There's another line that can help if questions keep coming. You can say, "Officer, I want to comply with lawful orders, but I'm not answering questions." That is respectful. It is clear. And it keeps you from drifting into a conversation that creates problems you did not have when the stop began. Hey, 73% of people watching right now aren't subscribed. Don't be part of that group. Join the people who get these legal updates first so you're not learning this stuff after a bad stop. Click subscribe. Now let's talk about the mistakes that blow this up, because this is the part that shocked me when I started seeing how often it happens. First mistake, reaching before speaking. If there is one thing I want burned into your brain, it's this. Hands first, words second, movement last. Keep your hands where the officer can see them. Then speak. Then move only after instructions. Most people reverse that. They start digging for documents while trying to explain themselves. That is backward. Second mistake, using vague words. If you say, "I've got something in the car," you have made things worse. Something? What does that mean? A gun? A knife? A bomb? Bad wording creates fear. Clear wording reduces fear. If disclosure is needed, say "lawfully carrying" or "lawfully carried firearm." Simple, direct, calm. Third mistake, joking. Never joke about weapons with police. Not ever. I don't care if you think you're relaxed. I don't care if you're trying to break tension. Only my bazooka. Depends who's asking. Maybe. No. That is a disaster waiting to happen. Fourth mistake, consenting to searches because you think saying yes makes you look innocent. Most people think, "I've got nothing to hide, so why not?" But the truth is, consent gives away control. If an officer asks to search, that is different from being ordered out of the vehicle. If you choose not to consent, keep it polite. Say, "I do not consent to any searches." Then stop. Do not turn it into a speech. Fifth mistake, arguing law on the roadside. This is a huge one. Even if you know the law better than the officer, the side of the road is usually not where that gets sorted out. Your job is to stay safe, preserve your rights, and avoid making things worse. Save the legal fight for court, for your lawyer, or for a complaint later if needed. Here's a hypothetical example. Imagine a driver says, "Actually, under the Fourth Amendment, you can't ask me that." And Terry versus Ohio says, "Listen, maybe that person read a few cases online, maybe they're even partly right, but now the stop is becoming a contest. That rarely helps." Sixth mistake, forgetting that passengers have issues too. If you are the passenger and the officer is talking to the driver, do not suddenly jump in unless needed. And if the officer asks you questions directly, the same basic rule applies. Be calm. Be respectful. Don't volunteer extra facts. Don't reach into bags or waistbands without being told to. And here's something even more important. Many people think the goal is to win the stop. Wrong goal. The goal is to get home safely without giving away rights or creating fear. That's the real win. The best mindset is simple: calm hands, short answers, no sudden moves, no extra stories. If you must disclose, do it clearly. If you do not need to answer more questions, do not fill the silence. Laws change fast, really fast. Subscribe now so you're not caught off guard by the next update, the next court ruling, or the next rule change that affects what you should say during a stop. So here's the bottom line. If police ask, "Any weapons?" your answer should be short, calm, and built around safety. If you must disclose, say, "Officer, I want to let you know I am lawfully carrying. My hands will stay right here. How would you like me to proceed?" If you do not need to answer more questions, be respectful and keep your mouth from doing damage your lawyer will hate later. And one more thing. Don't confuse confidence with talking too much. The people who stay safest are usually the ones who stay calm, follow lawful orders, and say only what actually needs to be said. If this helped you, subscribe right now and share this video with one person who carries, drives, or just wants to avoid making a terrible mistake during a traffic stop. This channel is here to help you stay informed, stay prepared, and stay out of unnecessary trouble. And of course, simple disclaimer here at the end, this video is general educational information, not personal legal advice. Gun laws and police encounter rules can change from state to state, so talk to a qualified attorney in your area for advice about your exact situation.